What is good, YouTube? In today's video, I got y'all a brand new top 5 meta loadouts you need to be running. So if you enjoyed the video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, first up here today is going to be the SCW-10. This is really one of the best SMGs for that close range. Truthfully, absolutely absurd. The only downside, realistically, is of course going to be the magazine size, and that really is one of its only downfalls. It's incredible for close range. Reload's even actually pretty decent for this magazine, this extended mag. All right, first attachment in here. By the way, I do play controller on PC, so you guys, if there is a recoil discrepancy between controller and keyboard and mouse, you can adjust something. It's not really much you have to do. It's like you just recommend running maybe a compensated breaker or something like that instead of a regular suppressor, and that would really be about it in terms of like all you can realistically change. I have this thing built out at least optimally what I like to be able to do with it. So first thing is gonna be that standard suppressor here. Just keeps you fully, hidden in world for spotting, reduces the range where a soldier is spotted on the minimap while firing, reduces hipfire accuracy. Not the end of the world here in reducing hipfire accuracy. It's still pretty solid. This is a build that I've found that works really, really good, but I also am still trying different things to make it a little bit better, even rearrange a few different things. Yo, SteelSeries just sent me their Arctis Nova 5 wireless headset. Massive shout out to them for sending me the headset. You ever wonder why people are pre-aiming you while you're running around a corner? It might be just because they got sonar from SteelSeries. Sonar is some next level audio software that is specifically built for gamers. It's got professional presets from pro players on all different types of games. You can have the best possible audio designed individually by them, and it's completely free with no SteelSeries headset required. It's even got a parametric equalizer, so you can dive straight into the heart of audio customization by amplifying and reducing specific in-game sounds to hear footsteps, bomb plants, and revives more clearly than ever before. On the streaming side of things, they have audio mixing, which allows you to perfectly adjust the volume, the different equalizers, other audio settings, so that way everything in your stream sounds great. And listen, don't worry, even if you got a bit of a noisy background, they have some AI noise reduction, which can totally drown out all that background noise, because nobody wants to hear your keyboard, a fan, or even the other loud people in your house. Something I really like is they have full 360-degree spatial audio in real time. That way you hear everything that's happening at the correct direction it's happening. If you want to check out Sonar or any gear on SteelSeries website, be sure to use my links below and also use my code for 20% off the entire SteelSeries website. Now let's get back into the video. Speaking of, next up here we have the 200mm custom barrel, which increases your projectile velocity and enables a faster transition to aim down sights. It's kind of like a no-brainer kind of barrel to run on this thing. Also, no reason to really run like a light barrel. I know it increases your mobility, but down goes your bullet velocity, which want it to be above that 500 mark. That is definitely preferable, so we have it right there. No underbarrel, just because we're going down here, we're spending so many points on a 25 round mag, though I'd say you, realistically speaking, probably could get away with running just the regular 20 round mag. Do that, you have 70 out of 100 points. Then you can go right back up in here to the underbarrel section and throw on something like the rib stubby, and that'll be a really solid option. So you could do that. You can even throw, let's say maybe you want to put on the alloy vertical and you have yourself 10 points left over for like a laser. Definitely do something like that. So this would be like my other option that I really like, just to help stabilize that even more so. So you definitely do that. Standard ammunition, of course, no right or top accessory. And then I have a sight on here, the Mini Flex 1.0, which will be absolutely fantastic. You guys will have a blast using this. Really, really solid here for close range. Of course, you can go down here and maybe say, take this off or throw on any of these other ones like the rib stubby or something else like that. Give yourself a little bit more mobility. Throw that on, have 20 right there. You can throw on like a top accessory of like a laser, something else like that, and you'd be like totally okay. So a variety of ways to build this thing, all of which are pretty valid. Next up is going to be the DRS-IAR. This is a really solid gun. As you can tell right here, this looks a little bit wonky in the firing range, but it is indeed a thermal sight. I wish they would actually, change it so that these targets do pop up and are illuminated. That'd be cool to be able to test it out, but it does make sense. They're not real human targets. All right, so first attachment here is going to be the standard suppressor. Definitely want to run this. This is really solid. Doesn't matter if you're playing multiplayer, if you're playing red sec, it like really doesn't matter. You should probably just want to run a suppressor as long as you happen to have it. If you don't, run something like the compensated break and you guys will be fully taken care of in that regard. But I'd say just the standard suppressor is going to work out great, keeping you largely off the minimap. And you'll not believe how many people just, when they don't, they're not using the minimap in the first place and they're just listening for the sound cues. I tell people that all the time, that people just are listening for the sound cues, and you are a lot less able to be heard when you have a standard suppressor or just a suppressor on in general. After that, in the barrel section, this is totally up to you guys which you want to be able to run, but I have 100 out of 100 here. This is the heavy extended barrel. I know with the regular extended, you gain a little bit more mobility, less precision. So this right here brings your precision up, would make you a little bit better for range, kind of playing into more the sort of like LMG-like characteristics, even though this is kind of like a hybrid AR LMG. It's kind of one of those nice hybrids that you can really build on either way. You can build it to be a true AR. You can build it to be a little bit slower like an LMG. This is kind of like just a little bit somewhere down the middle there of trying to bridge that gap. Down here in the magazine section, speaking of, I guess, trying to bridge that gap, we're going a little bit more AR on this side of things. We're running a 30 round fast mag here for only 10 points. Really solid. I don't like how these take so many points to get like a, like a 40 round mag. It's like an extra 15 points. That's kind of absurd. So I'm not as big of a fan of that. Wish they would kind of alter that up a little bit. After that, standard ammunition, of course. Grip section, you guys got the rib stubby in here, which slightly reduces recoil, enables a slightly faster transition to ADS. If you guys don't have this, maybe you could throw in like the alloy vertical, save yourself some points or something like that. I try not to go for any of these right here just because it will cost you movement speed and accuracy while aimed on sights, which is not a good thing. I know they technically put out that update today where they actually messed with some of the bloom. I'm telling you guys right now, I don't really feel much of a difference. So the issues that still persisted beforehand with bloom or dispersion, as they call it, are still there right now. So you'll largely probably find the same things kind of that you're dealing with this. Anyways, this is the Grim 1.5 thermal optic, which is really, really cool. I'm not sure if there's another thermal optic in here somewhere, but largely this is like really solid, super easy to use, and you guys will have a great time using this here. It doesn't matter if it's multiplayer, if it's red sec, like, I mean, the thermal optics in this game are kind of like some straight heat, so you guys will have fun using that. If you don't have that unlocked, don't want to waste, let's say, 25 points on something, then throw on, you know, I don't know, throw on like the 2x scope, whatever. You throw on like a 1x, so then you'll have a whole boatload more points left over. So that's one way you can kind of get around and doing some other stuff. Maybe shift that to a larger magazine, shift it to a different barrel, anything else like that. You guys can do a variety of different things and you'll be totally okay. But that's my full build. Hope you guys enjoy that. Here is going to be the TR7, aka like the Tavor, I think is what a lot of people like to call it by its actual name. This thing right here is basically a complete lack of control in any capacity. Like, this is an AR, but you can see by the overall recoil pattern, this thing is absurd. Also, it looks really cool in the firing range when you hit something, like for whatever reason things explode. Maybe that's just because of how hard it hits, but overall you're not using this for anything outside of close to medium range. This is your hybrid AR SMG. So to get into the build here, if you guys want to have any chance at controlling this whatsoever, you can run the compensated brake, and that's going to be your best bet here in the overall section right here in terms of like your muzzle. I will say you can't run the suppressor. That's perfectly fine, though you are going to have to deal with it kind of kicking like a mule. This gun is not for the faint of aiming. I was about to say faint of heart, but translate that into aiming. If you can't control recoil and stuff like that, this gun is going to be your worst nightmare. This is arguably one of the hardest things to aim in the game just due to its overall recoil pattern and its how it kicks. So just keep that in mind. So I'd say standard suppressor down here or the compensated brake, just depending on what you feel like dealing with. No matter how you build this thing out, whatever configuration of grips and stuff you got, it's gonna kick like a lot. You can see the control is 34, precision's 18. You're basically just throwing some rounds down range and praying that they hit. But when it does hit, it hits hard with 33 damage and a 720 rounds per minute fire rate. That's gonna hit pretty hard. After that, we're gonna go in here, run the extended barrel only because I ran out of points to run the light barrel, which would be ultimately a little bit better considering we're not really using this thing for distance. But overall, it's like you might as well just run something here. We don't want to run the factory barrel. It's like you can probably technically get away with that. Like realistically speaking, you probably can. But overall, I'd rather have a little bit of extra bullet velocity. That is something I would prefer to have. Down here in the grip section, I ran with the rib stubby. I've also gone up in here and thrown on the grip that's gotten the utmost like overall control possible, which is the 6H64 vertical. This thing will do the most for you, but keep in mind you actually lose, of course, accuracy while ADS, when you're moving. So not really that worth it considering this thing already has pretty awful precision in the first place. So it's like you might as well go for something that doesn't really have downsides, which is going to be the rib stubby. So definitely try this out. Try some of these other grips. You're going to be hard pressed to find anything that really manages the recoil in this gun at all. Down here in the magazine section, I went for the 25 round mag. Obviously the 30 round mag is absurd, 40 points. That's a complete waste of points right there. So go for the 25 or go for the 20 round fast. That's also probably a great idea. Let's say you go for the 25, that's 20 points. You go for the maybe the 20 round fast. Instead of running no right accessory, top accessory, you can go up in here, and I just apparently have all these new. You can go up in here, run like a 5 MW green laser and be totally good right there. Gain yourself some more hip fire, as you're not using this for range. You're using this basically as like a little bit of an extended SMG, maybe to medium range. And after that, it's just kind of like you're saying a prayer and hoping you can actually hit something. So definitely go for that. And then of course down here in the sight section, about the max, you're going to use some mini flex or maybe this OSA, and that's really going to be about it. None of these other ones are going to be worth it because you can't hit anything at those ranges anyways. Like when you're like, there's no reason to throw on a 2-3 times unless you're actually just going for like a cursed build, because you're not going to be able to hit anything. So slap on like a mini flex, the OSA, whatever you feel more comfortable with, and you know, say a prayer, have fun with it. Anyways, this is my full TR7 build. Next up is going to be a great build here with the SG553R. This is a really fun carbine to use. Absolutely love it, honestly. One of my favorites to have ranked up in the last little bit, besides that GRT, which I'm not really sure if it falls in meta, but it's still really fun to use. This thing is incredible here. You can see it's very well rounded. It's still relatively effective at some longer distances, but you got to burst it. All right, so hopping in here to kind of show you guys how to build this thing out. We go for the standard suppressor, or we go for like a compensated brake. Those are kind of like my two attachments that I'll kind of go between as long as I got both of them unlocked. If I feel like I need more recoil control, or I don't really care about being suppressed, then I'll go for like a compensated brake. If I want to be more suppressed, stay off the radar, largely I'm probably going to go for the standard suppressor, just because the rest of these in here are going to be taking a little bit too much pointage for me to really care about them. At max, maybe I'll go for the long suppressor. That's about it. But overall, I'm just going to go for the standard. After that, we're going to go in here, run the extended barrel, just because this, you know, increases our projectile velocity, enables a faster transition to ADS. All really great stuff here. Don't really care as much for that light barrel because it costs more points and we lose out on our bullet velocity. And we want this thing to actually be more useful over some distance. It's kind of like, you know, bridging the gap between medium and longer range, but you're really just going to be good for like medium-ish range out to the end of that and just like kind of on back. So really nice how you have like, you know, SMG AR hybrids, which kind of bridge the gap between those two, and this is kind of bridging the gap between ARs and a little bit longer range than being really good for down below. So it gives you just a wide variety of range you can be effective at, and that's why I like this. I like the carbines too. Down here in the grip, of course, the rib stubby, you guys kind of know the drill on this one. If you don't have it, throw on like an alloy vertical, save yourself some points. Even if you want to just use it in general, throw it on there, you'll be good to go. Rib stubby is awesome. Down here in the magazine section, very simple, just a 30 round fast mag. I'm not going to go for any of this shenanigans. That's just too much points. Maybe the 36 round mag, when I get that at level 29, I'm actually, well, one level away from that. So maybe I'd go for that. But otherwise, just going to stick with that. Up here in the laser section, I went for that 5 MW green laser. It's only 10 points instead of a 20 point increase. 54 to 62 is pretty marginal, so it will make a difference. But overall, this is all that allows me 4-point wise. And then lastly, we have our brand new, not brand new, I was looking at this, we have the Mini Flex 1.0. So definitely try this out. You can run like a 2 times or something else like that. A 1.5x ain't really going to matter too much. I'd probably just stay away from some of these scopes down here, like anything above like a 2 times. It's not really good to run a carbine with anything above that, because like a 3.3 times, like this is what's going to be reserved for like ARs, LMGs, you know, stuff like that, where it's going to be very useful for longer distance. Not with this gun. You want to be good for that close to medium range, which is going to be largely 2 times and below. So definitely use whatever you want. Overall, don't go for iron sights, not beneficial. Go for like a reflex or something else like that. But this is the full build. Hope you guys enjoy that. And last but not least, one of the most stable and easy to use guns in the entire game, the SOR 556. This thing, because of its low fire rate, is very easy to use, really great for overall multiplayer, and of course, red sec. You can use this a variety of ways, and it's going to be fun in each one of them. The only downside here is that maybe if you get caught at closer ranges there, it's not going to be that great due to the fire rate. Overall, hopping into the build though, very standard. We run that standard suppressor on here. You guys kind of know what that does, so I ain't really got to explain that to you guys, but that is exactly, you know, what we are running here. After that, we run the extended barrel, not the heavy barrel, just because I know this does give you a little bit extra precision, right? This actually does do that. I've just found that obviously, you get extra precision, but you're at 800 meters a second in bullet velocity. It's like, why would you do that when you can just run the 18, the 18 USLB barrel, which increase your projectile velocity, gets you a faster transition to ADS, and you get 1,000 meters a second in bullet velocity, which is really, really fast for an AR. So it's like, it makes sense to run that. Also, we don't really have a whole lot of bloom on this gun, which is really solid. Down here in the, grip section, of course, the rib stubby. I always tell people, go for the alloy vertical if you guys don't happen to have a lot of stuff unlocked. I mean, this gun's not going to recoil much anyway, so you could probably even get away with, not running an underbarrel if you really want to try that out. I personally haven't, but I still think it's definitely doable considering, how easy this gun is to use. Down here in the magazine section, I'd say to go for the 36 round mag, go for like maybe a 30 round fast mag. Yeah, the 30 round fast mag, if you happen to get it, mine's a few levels away. So I'd probably go for that, save myself 5 points, and I have 90 out of 100. I could go up and throw like a laser or something on there, but overall, right now, just based on the way everything's leveled up at level 20, I have this thing with a 36 round mag. After that, we're just gonna go up in here for a final attachment, which is the 3VZR 1.75X. Almost mispronounced that, but this is what I like to run. I could even go for the ROM. That's really, really solid too. And if you're going down here into Red Sec, I'm throwing that Baker 3 times and you guys will be absolutely demolishing people. Super fun sight to be able to use. So you really can't go wrong. You can even throw like a red dot sight on this thing and play a little bit more aggressive. Just keep in mind that rate of fire at 568 might not be the greatest for close range. So with that being said, that's my video. That's my top 5. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, those notifications turned on. Check out this other video on screen. I'll see y'all next time.